Hello, I'm Dr. Lipi Roy, and welcome to my show, Health, Humor, and Harmony. Today's show is super special because I'll be talking to one of the stars of one of my all-time favorite television shows, Schitt's Creek, Emmy-winning actress Annie Murphy. After first fangirling with my fellow Canadian, we then talked about her promotion of a new non-hormonal birth control called Fexi in partnership with Evofem Biosciences. Their CEO, Sandra Pelletier, also joined our conversation. Both women are fierce champions of bodily autonomy and a woman's right to choose, particularly when it comes to her own reproductive health, including choice of contraception. So excited to share this interview. Let's get started. Hi ladies. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Lipi Roy. A little bit about myself. I'm an internal medicine doctor. I specialize in addiction medicine, and I do a lot of media work. So over the past 2 years, since COVID, I was the medical director of COVID isolation quarantine sites for Housing Works, which is a wonderful nonprofit in New York dedicated to fighting HIV/AIDS and homelessness. I also worked at vaccination sites, and I worked at a harm reduction clinic in the Bronx treating patients with opioid addiction. In addition to those 3 clinical jobs, I also I was a medical contributor for MSNBC and NBC News, talking about all things COVID every day for about 2 years. So I did about over 300 live on-air appearances. I also write for Forbes, and that's how Rachel's team contacted me. And a couple of months ago, I just launched my YouTube health show. So I'm just really passionate about merging my passion for medicine with media and entertainment. So that's why I'm so grateful to people like both of you, especially you, Annie, for taking time out of your busy schedules and all the work that you do, Sandra. So anyway, that's a little bit about me.
Way to go.
I know, it's incredible.
That color me very impressed.
Yes.
Well, thank you. But so that's just a little bit about me. And before we start the official interview, let me just say, Annie, if I could just geek out for 5 seconds and say that Schitt's Creek was ridiculously not funny, but really therapeutic. I believe that laughter is the best medicine. And I truly just burned out during the pandemic with all my different responsibilities. So I'm now working part-time, but really every night I would come home. Schitt's Creek. I'd also watch Will and Grace. I'd watch other comedy, and as a fellow Canadian, I was so proud of Dan Levy and of Dan Levy, but come on, Catherine and Eugene are legends, right? So yeah, so just thank you. You were my favorite, by far my favorite character. I think you really had the biggest evolution. And so just if you can briefly tell me one line, what was it like for you on the show?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, that means so much to hear you say that. And I'm so glad that we could help you get through the madness in our own way. It was the best experience of my life. I learned so much from Eugene and Catherine, especially. Just they are the kindest, or everything you want them to be. And yeah. It was a schooling every single day, and I miss them all terribly. But it's a true highlight of my life, and I don't know. I'm genuinely just like bribing them for a movie, but no one seems to be listening.
Oh, fantastic. Well, ladies, I know that there are things that you want to talk about, so I'll let you guys go first. I have a few questions as well, but why don't do you want me to ask my questions? Okay. So I think they will coincide with your talking points as well. So one of my questions was, why is this topic of birth control and women's health more broadly important to you, to both of you? For Sandra, I know it's been your life's work. And then for you also, Annie, do you think celebrities have a responsibility to use their platform for advocacy or activism, whether it be social justice, gender justice, reproductive, criminal justice? And then lastly, what message do you have for policymakers and medical professionals like me? So in whatever order you want to talk about anything, go ahead.
You want to take it away, Sandra?
Sure, I will. So just to start, now more than ever with the SCOTUS decision, what we know is access to contraception is critical. We know that it is life-saving, and we know that the idea that women should have anything taken away from them is archaic and draconian, and the decision was wrong. Our part that we want to play, meaning Evofem, and then our partnership with Annie, is to say to women, your body and how it works. Annie has said it, and I don't want to steal her thunder, but she has said you should have autonomy over your body. Bodily autonomy is your right, and you should choose when and if and how often you have children by choice. And so for us, Fexi was our way to make a contribution to women's healthcare with innovation, because there's 23 million women that will not use hormones. They are beyond hormones, and the side effects are real, often not talked about because everything on the market has hormones in it. But women are saying, look, I don't have sex every day. And because I don't have sex every day, does it make sense that I take something every day of every week, month over month over month, if I don't feel as good as I should? And what is happening to my body that I might not even realize? So Fexi is not just a way to show that innovation matters in women's health, right? Birth control has been out for a long time, but all women have had is lower doses of more hormones or different delivery systems of more hormones. So Fexi is unique. It's the only on-demand product that has no hormones. And we think that's really empowering. And the other point to say is that women really deserve education. They deserve to know what their choices are. And so the most important part of our partnership with Annie is that she is incredibly passionate and willing, by the way, and I know she's going to answer her own question, do celebrities have a responsibility? Her voice has made such a difference in how young women think about what they deserve and how they feel about what they deserve. And it has really been game changing. It has like made my heart and my mind expand in a way that these young girls are starting to say, I exercise, I don't have hormones in my milk, I don't have hormones in my meat, and I deserve to have sex on demand and feel good. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Sandra. Go ahead, Annie.
I came by my Fexi experience very, I think in a way that a lot of, I feel like I've had a very similar journey where I started on the pill when I was 16 years old. That made me feel not myself at all. I had super, super huge mood swings. I was feeling very sad and very low so much of the time. And it wasn't until probably 5 years had passed until I put together like, oh, this is because I'm putting hormones into my body every single day. And I moved on to the NuvaRing, which was localized, but also it's still just localized hormones in a very sensitive area of your body. And then I moved on to just nothing because I didn't want to put hormones in my body, and there was no other option that I knew of out there, which is also a gamble and a risk in its own way,
Yeah.
So then when I met Sandra and found out about this product and saw how passionate Sandra was, she's in this for all of the right reasons. She's in this to improve the lives and the health of women, with all of her fiber. Like I'm not suspicious at all of her intention. And anyway, when it comes to like celebrities and their responsibility for using their platform, I don't think there's an obligation. I think everyone should have a choice in what they do or don't do. But I do feel very, very lucky to be in the position that I am, having this platform. I know it's not common. And so personally, yes, I think I wouldn't be feeling like I was doing my due diligence as a human if I wasn't using my platform to help educate, especially women, about all of the choices that they do have. And again, Fexi, though it really works for me, it might not work for everybody and won't work for everybody, but at least to have the platform to tell women that there are more options than just the pill and just the NuvaRing.
Right.
And I mean, we're in a time where women have taken a massive, massive hit over the last few weeks. And deserve all of the education they can get their hands on. And yeah, so I'm just happy to be able to be here and talking about it.
Well, thank you both for sharing your stories and for giving these responses, and for the work that you do on behalf of my patients, on behalf of me, on behalf of my female friends and colleagues. Annie, why is the topic of like birth control and just women's health in general important to you?
I just feel that it's so incredibly important to have bodily autonomy for everybody. And that has been taken away from almost half of the US population. And that to me is so beyond disturbing. And I just feel like the more we talk about it, the more we educate ourselves, the more we are actively supporting one another. That's the only way to get out of this real hell that a lot of people are living in right now.
And one major question I want both of you to answer, if you're able to, really, what message would you have for policymakers, and what message, if any, for medical professionals like me?
I would say for policymakers that access to contraception is critical, because if you want to look at economic impact of unintended pregnancies versus the cost of contraception, I would say to policymakers, there are still healthcare plans that are denying women access to contraception. ACA clearly states, the guideline clearly states that an FDA-approved product should be provided to women at zero out-of-pocket pay, and it's not happening. Plans are still finding loopholes, they're still denying women, and it's wrong. If you're going to take away a right to a safe abortion, at least give women access to contraception, for God's sake, right? And oh, by the way, Viagra was covered. Full speed ahead. Wow, let's let men, get erections, but let's not protect women from being able to get pregnant. So to policymakers, I would say, at least be decent enough to stand up for women and give them access to contraception. That's really my message. And you can do that by insisting and demanding that the plans that are blocking women stop immediately.
And what about feminine products, right? Women have this, for instance, they were like 10 every single month, or sometimes every Q21 days paying for feminine products. What about that added cost? So yeah, exactly. What would you add to that, if anything, Annie? And what about a message to medical professionals?
Oh, God, I feel like, Sandra, you're the brains behind this particular part of the operation.
Well, that is not true.
Well, it's actually interesting. You guys have drawn up a chart of, which I appreciate so much. There's a chart of all of the different opportunities and options for birth controls, hormonal and non-hormonal, that you guys have created, and you're sending around to different doctors' offices and that kind of thing. And as Sandra said earlier, when you're lying there with your feet up in the stirrups and the doctor's going to do a thing, you're looking around the room, this is actually some really, really important information that they're providing. It's not just peddling Fexi, it's saying, here are all of your options. And I just think that is such an important poster to have, and such important education to be able to absorb. So
both of you have used the expression bodily autonomy. I think that's such an important expression. And to me, it comes back to patient-centered care. And you both mentioned the importance of giving patients or giving women choices, right? You're not forcing an option on them. And I think a message and a reminder that I give to medical students and trainees is that you want to present to a patient whatever their clinical problem, whether it be hypertension, heart failure, lupus, ovarian cancer, birth control options. You want to give them, say, look, this is what we have available that's evidence-based. These are the efficacy. These are the side effects. What do you think? Let's come up with a plan together to figure out what works out best for you. That sounds very different from the traditional hierarchical, I'm the doctor, you're the patient, I tell you what to do, right? So this idea of having patient-centered decision-making is so empowering, don't you think?
Oh, yes. We think you should be cloned, actually. That's what we think. You should be cloned so that you can be everybody's doctor. Patient-centered care is so amazing. I love that you care about that and said it, because you're right.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, my first job after residency, I was a primary care doctor for Boston's homeless population. And the leading cause of death we discovered amongst the population was drug overdose. This is back in 2013. And that's how I fell into addiction medicine. And then I moved to New York in 2016, and I became the first chief of addiction medicine for New York City jails. And you know, they didn't teach me this stuff in medical school. They don't teach you this stuff. And I went to good schools. So I believe it's my obligation. Again, like you, Annie, I don't believe in forcing people to do certain things, but I take it as my responsibility to pay it forward and to share whatever I know with as many people as possible. Because I feel I'm sure Annie and Sandra, you feel the same way. You feel privileged. I can tell. You feel very lucky to do the work that you do. And so you just want to pay it forward. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, I completely agree. And thank you. Thank you for being so passionate and doing what you do.
Thank you both. Any final words, anything last that you want to say to me, anything that I didn't ask that you want to convey? I'll make sure I include it both in my article and for the show as well.
I mean, I think we covered a lot of ground here. I just think, as I said before, it's so imperative that women continue to educate themselves and talk with each other and support each other in order to make this very scary world a better place.
Absolutely. Sandra?
Just that when we think about our bodies and how they work, one of the things that's been amazing that Annie has helped us do is try to suggest to women and men that the word vagina should not be taboo. It should not be dirty. It is your body part. And it's your elbow, it's your hands, it's your head, it's your vagina. And the fact that she was willing to say it on television, she found it absurd that it was so provocative, but it was. I mean, people suggested to me that I was going to get fired. And I thought, well, I'm going to go down with having a vagina said on television. I'm good with it. But really, it is so, for all this time has passed, right? And we all got here because people were having sex, right? And so why is it so dirty? And so the myths and the misconceptions, I guess I would say, is that we feel really proud. One, to partner with somebody that is so passionate, but two, to be able to share that choice really matters for women, right? Now, more than ever, and access to choice and innovation matters for women. So
yeah. And we need women in decision-making positions. We need women leaders. Both of you are women leaders. I like to think that I am using my position as a medical director, as a media person, to empower and to educate the public, particularly women. Women I'm tired of them being second-class citizens and third-class, frankly. It's infuriating, but let me channel that anger and this passion and emotion towards productive use. And that's what the two of you are doing. I am so grateful for your time and effort and for your energies. Keep doing great work. Annie, say hi to Dan and Eugene and Catherine. When you see them, you make me so proud as a fellow Canadian, and congratulations on your Emmy Awards. Oh, I'm so amazed.
Thank you. And thank you for your passion as well. This is, it really does kind of fill your heart up a bit. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Be well, be safe, drink lots of water, get lots of sleep. Okay. That's my doctor message to you.
Thank you
so much.
Bye.
I am deeply grateful to Annie Murphy and Sandra Pelletier for taking time out of their busy schedules to come onto my show to discuss contraceptive options and, more broadly, a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. As a doctor, I believe in giving patients options and helping them make informed decisions. A patient should be presented with all options for preventing pregnancy. Some options include medications in the form of pills, gels, and a patch. Others are physical barriers like a condom or diaphragm. Of the medications, some contain hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Like all treatments in the field of medicine, such as insulin for diabetes and amlodipine for high blood pressure, contraceptive methods also have trade-offs, i.e. pros and cons. Fexi would be the preferred option for women who cannot tolerate the side effects of hormones or who choose not to take hormones. And it can be taken in the moment, i.e. on demand, versus daily use like the pill. When it comes to efficacy, however, compared to other non-hormonal treatments, according to OB/GYN doctor Jennifer Gunter, Fexi is less effective than male condoms and a diaphragm with spermicide, 27% pregnancy rate versus 13 and 17% respectively. Planned Parenthood reports Fexi as 86% effective, but it works even better when combined with other birth control methods like condoms or diaphragms. Again, each method has its pros and cons, so it's important to discuss all contraceptive options with your doctor. On a larger scale, we're living in a precarious time where some conservative U.S. politicians are attempting to restrict access to birth control. Last week, Senate Republicans blocked a Democratic attempt to create a federal right to birth control. In addition, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote a concurring opinion with the ruling overturning Roe v. Wade that the Supreme Court should reconsider past precedents such as Griswold v. Connecticut and Eisenstadt v. Baird, which both guaranteed birth control access. As a physician and a woman of color, I am outraged by the persistent eradication of women's rights by certain lawmakers, almost all of whom are white, conservative men in privileged positions. We cannot let this happen. We need to come together, medical professionals, students, activists, teachers, business leaders like Sandra Pelletier, and celebrities like Annie Murphy to advocate for bodily autonomy and a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. So, how can you get involved? Learn more about birth control options from Planned Parenthood and from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or ACOG. You can also protest against the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade by attending rallies, contacting elected officials, donating to local abortion funds by visiting abortionfunds.org, and voting out the savages who helped overturn Roe v. Wade. So here's your joke of the day, doctor theme. Why are doctors often very calm? They have a lot of patience. Tune in Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern for the third installment of Dr. Roy on the Road, Questions for Doctors. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, write comments below, and follow me on Instagram at Health Humor Harmony Dr. Roy. Be well. I'll see you soon.